In this video, we will reinstall the feed fork, feed regulator, and feed rock shaft, all back into this early model Singer 99. Let's get started. Now let's go over all the parts that you want to pull out of your clean parts. We have the feed rock shaft itself, and you will have 2 centers and nuts for the feed rock shaft. You also need the feed fork. The feed fork has a little roller on it that you'll need. And at the bottom of the feed fork, where it connects to the feed rock shaft, you'll have an eccentric screw and another nut. You'll want to grab those. There's also a hinge screw with a little spring type washer. You're going to want that. The feed regulator itself and the screw regulator that works with the feed regulator. So what parts should we put on first? So to start, we will put in the feed rock shaft itself first. The way that it goes in, do you see these little arms pointing up here? They're going to point up towards the machine, and this arm here is going to come up where we're going to eventually install the feed dogs. It really can go in only one way, so it shouldn't be too difficult. But you're going to want to kind of hold it in place, and then before you put your centers in, just put a little bit of oil on the threads to help everything go in a little bit easier. And you might be able to start them by hand, but you might need a screwdriver to finish them up, and that's okay. I'm going to see how far I can get these in just with my fingers, and I'm definitely going to need to use a screwdriver. So I'm going to turn this way. Let's get this other side going too. This one's a little bit easier. Maybe I did a better job on one than the other, I don't know. But we just want to kind of get them started enough so this hangs out comfortably for us. Now I don't want these in so tight that I can't move this or wiggle it. It needs a little bit of play right now. But the centers are on. I'm comfortable with that. I'm not even going to worry about putting these nuts on yet. We'll save that for a little bit later. Now, the reason why we put this in first is because when we put the feed fork in, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So what we need to do now is we're going to flip this machine up on its nose. The next thing I want you to do is to take your screw regulator, and let's get a drop of oil on that, and just right here in the front, go ahead and just start it. Don't let it poke out yet from, you can see it's poking out just a little bit there. Don't let it do that. Just kind of get it there so it's ready for you. Then we're going to take our feed fork, and you want to put a drop of oil on this little post that the roller's going to go on, and you're going to put the roller on. Now, we're going to slide this up through the bottom of the machine, and the roller's going to face towards the opening here. So go ahead and do that. So I'm just sliding it up inside, and I'm letting it catch on the main shaft up here. There's a cam that it actually rides on. Just letting it catch on that. Now that it's set in place, I'm going to go ahead and use my eccentric screw that goes in here temporarily to hold everything in place. So I'm not even going to worry about putting any oil on this. I'm just going to kind of pop it in there. Now my feed fork is in place. It's not going to go anywhere. Take your hinge screw that's going to screw into the side of the feed regulator here, and go ahead and get the washer on it now. And I like to put a little bit of oil right there. And then when we put our washer on, you'll see there are these little tabs. They're bent. Have them bent up away from the head of the screw. And then set this aside. If you use a screw starter at all, go ahead and get it on the screw starter so it is 100% ready for when you have everything in position. Set that aside. Now I'm going to try using a magnet to help me hang on to things. because what I want to do is, now that I have the feed fork in, I want to go ahead and turn my screw regulator so I can see more of the end sticking inside of the machine. So once we have the screw regulator kind of poking out a decent amount inside the machine, we need to start to put in the feed regulator. Now that roller ball that we put on the end of the feed fork is fitting here. This little portion right here of the screw regulator is actually going to rest right here. So what that means is we're going to try to wiggle this in, angle it, and the last time I did this, when I tried to kind of turn it this way, that's how I got the roller onto this cutout here. So I'm going to try turning it this way towards the front of the machine and then back again so that everything catches the way it's supposed to. And I'm going to use a magnet to help me. So first, I just want to get it in the machine. Once I feel like I have all the parts in, aha, right there. I've got an angle. See if I can turn the regulator up onto the roller, and it is. Okay. So don't breathe. Now I'm going to line up the hole on the regulator right here so I can add my hinge screw and spring washer in. So I'm going to set this back so I can make sure everything is lined up. That's pretty close. Let's see if that will catch. Yes, it has caught. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down right now. This you just have to try again and again. It's not always going to happen on your first attempt. Don't panic. Don't give up. I did find that when I angled it sort of this way, so this little arm right here was pointing more towards the front of the machine, it was easier to slide up on the roller on the feed fork. So let's test this out. Let's see, did I do it? The way that we'll know is when we operate our screw regulator, we're going to see this moving back and forth just like it should, and it definitely is. I turn it and it's moving just fine. So everything is in place. Very good. Now, also give your hand wheel a test turn. Sometimes those feed forks can kind of sit funny, and you might have issues with your hand wheel turning. So I have this where I want it. I'm going to unscrew it just a little bit. Now, what do we need to do? Well, even though I'm going to have additional adjustments to make, and I still need to add this screw right here, I don't want to lose this nut. So I'm going to go ahead and just add it onto the end. Add it onto the end right here. And I'm not tightening it down. I'm just holding everything in place. Now, as far as the feed rock shaft, we can go ahead and put the nuts on, but until we have more together, we're not going to be sure about where the final resting place is going to be for this, because I may need to move it a little bit to the left or to the right so the feed dogs are centered in the needle plate. But I can, for now, go ahead and just give it a little wiggle, make sure it's not too tight. I want to make sure that it can move back and forth, and that it can also, like, I don't want too much side to side play. But if you're not sure like how it should be positioned, just shoot for equal amounts sticking out on each end for your centers for now. And then if you want, go ahead and pop those nuts on so everything stays together where it should be and it doesn't get lost. Now that we have reinstalled the feed regulator back into this machine, I'm checking it. Everything spins like it should. I like how this feels when I want to change the stitch length. I'm happy with that. I'm ready to install the hook. So that is what we will do on the next video. I hope this was a clear enough explanation for you. It is something that's just a little bit fiddly, and it's going to take you a couple tries. So don't give up. Even someone who's done this many, many times may struggle with it every once in a while. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please give this video a like. That really helps me and helps other people like you find my videos. I will see you again really soon.